Welcome to the channel, everybody. Today it looks like we're going to talk a little more about Madden 21 as EA has released another Gridiron Notes update regarding updates coming to franchise mode in Madden 21 and beyond. Around a month ago, the hashtag FixMaddenFranchise began circulating and the community really rallied around the fact that Madden 21 wouldn't be featuring anything new for franchise mode. Nothing meaningful, nothing that was more than, what you could see in a typical patch update. So EA responded and basically said they were listening and they would have something for us regarding franchise mode. And today, we got a little something. I have the article linked down below, but I'll be going through the pieces of it I think are the most important. And I'll have some sort of franchise footage on this video. I haven't actually decided that yet. Anyway, in the article, they open by talking about the franchise team. And according to this information, they have dedicated a higher percentage of team bandwidth to deliver a greater investment in core franchise features through Madden NFL 21 post-launch support and Madden 22 launch and beyond. Obviously, franchise was lacking resources considering in a year's time we got almost nothing for franchise mode. And that's also considering the very few improvements over the course of Madden 20's life cycle. I know we got 5th-year options after waiting for a very long time. I forget how long that actually took to get into the game, but I'm glad it's there now. And there are so many more things you could do with the scenario engine or by tweaking things that already exist to simply make them better. If they're serious about making franchise mode better, they need people who are improving what's already there, because there's a foundation for so many features that just have no depth to them, but they also need people to work on brand new features and prototype, test, and improve new ideas that aren't in the game already. They state in this section that they're placing some of their most passionate franchise voices to lead the creative path forward. And there are definitely some very passionate franchise fans that work on the game, but obviously they don't get to choose what they do all the time, and there's people higher up making all the decisions. I hope that those in charge of franchise are given freedom to go forward with their vision for the mode. So let's move on. The next section talks about Madden as a live service and all the things they do throughout the year adding to the game, and they've done some pretty good things like the audibles. The on-the-fly audibles were pretty cool a couple of years ago. But as far as franchise mode, they mentioned that they'll expand their dedicated live service team to allow for more focused delivery of franchise improvements based on your feedback, while continuing to evolve the broader game for our wide cross-section of Madden fans. Our current plan is to deliver the Madden 21 updates in 2 or 3 title updates over the course of the coming months. So we're gonna have to wait for patches, and each different patch should bring something different, I would hope and imagine. They didn't announce anything about the game until like last month or late June, whenever it was, so there wasn't much time between then and launch to react to feedback. So obviously, updates are going to be what we have to wait on now. I don't expect anything too big, but I do want to see what they can bring and how quick they can do it. Because last year, it felt like we were waiting on 5th-year options for a really long time. We had information, I think, before the game came out that they were coming, and they came, I found it, November 21st, which is a few months after launch. And that's over 100 days. I would sure hope that improvements to franchise mode can hit Madden 21 a lot quicker. So let's get into their high-level franchise commitments in Madden 21 and Madden 22. They mentioned that this takes a lot of planning, and there's no doubt a lot of this, needs to be mapped out and planned over the course of months and years for some things. So they don't have an exact timeline, but they can share the areas they're targeting meaningful change in 21 and beyond. Starting with tuning, improved progression and regression of players, improve core player progression into the future such that X factors and other abilities for older players work well with incoming rookie classes. That's a big one right there, regression. I think that's something that could have been addressed in patches many times because regression is very linear and it's been the same way now for multiple years. Basically, a player turns 29 and they start to regress. Some faster than others. There's a bit of variance in there, but not enough and not in respect to a player's production. I'd like to see them focus on age relating to like athletic regression, speed, acceleration, that kind of thing, but maybe a player's stats having more say over how fast actual skills regress. Say a player like Larry Fitzgerald, for instance, a perfect example. In real life, we've seen him, lose some speed over the years, but he can still run routes. He still catches the football really well. In Madden, if you take a player like Larry Fitzgerald and he just gets older, route running goes down pretty quickly, catching can as well, even if they just had a really good season, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. There are many ways they can improve progression and regression. I think they have to rework the goals each season for players, and there's just so much you could do there. And you could just move it one step at a time, add a little bit that makes it better. Just push it in the right direction. AI personnel management. The AI will make better team management decisions in the draft, free agency, and trades. And that's another thing that really, you never finish something like that. There's always going to be some sort of flaw with the AI or something you have to improve. And with each patch, you can find deficiencies in the logic and improve them. So I'm glad that's highlighted here because it's often been overlooked. Playoff and Super Bowl presentation, improve and refresh. I would say that goes for the entire game, but I don't really know if we're going to see a lot of that. They haven't talked about presentation really in a long time, and if they're not going to talk about it in a year with a new console coming out where you can just put a bunch of marketing hype behind it, I wouldn't count on a lot of presentation. Going back to older Maddens, you see some of the foundation with good ideas, and for some reason, ripped away and long forgotten. But yeah, the presentation needs to be refreshed, especially for the postseason. I would also say for like walk-off victories, we need some presentation for that at the bare minimum. X Factor Superstar Ability Customization. Introduce the ability to customize X Factor and abilities on all players, allowing you to customize your roster as you see fit. That should have been in the game last season, and because it wasn't, I did not play with X Factors or abilities in my franchise. Enforcer. Do I have to say anything more? It is the most unbalanced ability as it pertains to franchise mode and realism. There are other ones I don't like I would take off Aaron Rodgers' Gambler, don't like that ability. Escape Artist shouldn't be an ability, it should be tied to players' athletic ratings. And I saw one of the new abilities in some of the recent news. I saw that one called Avalanche. Basically, more hit stick fumbles. I don't want to see any of that. Hit sticks are already super OP. Have you seen Miles Jack in my Broncos franchise? He's amazing. Next up, Career Stats UI. Improved UI showing historical player performances, more immersion and depth on how players have progressed in your franchise. That has to mean the year and name of the team they played on for that season. We've been wanting that for a long time, but there's even more you could do with the Career Stats UI. Even a game like Madden 09, it shows you the career highs for each player by season. What year do they have the most receptions, receiving yards, etc. It also shows you how they entered the league and how they were acquired by their current team. There's a lot more information that you could include here that would make the game more immersive. Trade logic, more fidelity, depth, and authenticity. That definitely needs to be addressed. Retirement UI, better insight into retirements each season to allow players to react and manage. I'm interested in what they mean about that, because you can go into the transaction log and see all the players that have retired. It's not the most organized, convenient list out there. You can't just see every quarterback that retired or every running back or whatever. You can sort it by team. But yeah, you could definitely do more. Playoffs update, add an authentic playoff bracket screen to see who's in, who's won, and who's up next. I know MLB The Show has that, and I always appreciated being able to see the brackets at my main franchise screen. And for those of you that enjoy playing online franchise, they mention commissioner tools, and they have ranked by priority these areas of the game. Ability to undo transactions, reducing friction and control over player movement, contracts, and trades. The second one is the ability to approve trades. And third, ability to reset a game in case of a disconnect. There are some negatives that come with playing online leagues, and these definitely address some of them, whether they're people that cut their entire roster or, imbalanced trades that you'd want a veto system for. And obviously connections in a game where you need, an hour and a half of stability, that can be a problem too. There were definitely some really good things in that list that will make franchise a lot better. And this was under the Madden 21 post-launch support section. I should have mentioned that earlier. And it's based on community feedback and subject to change. But those areas, I think, are great. And if they can have all that improved in Madden 21, that'd be a good step. Next up, though, they talk about Madden 22, and they're very early in that process of planning and pre-production, but they have been discussing some of the areas they want to focus on, and here are some of the areas that they're exploring creatively. Coaching and staff management, scouting improvements, new scenario engine enhancements, new team chemistry system, commissioner tool improvements, and more content. Examples: relocation, branding assets for franchise, new uniforms, names, and logos to relocation options. I think that would be great. Scouting is too simple. I'd love to see some sort of a scouting report system implemented. I know that, Madden 2009 had those scouting reports. They also had offensive, defensive, and I think special teams coordinators as well. NFL head coach had full coaching staffs, position coaches, everything. I want at least coordinators. And you should be able to have a coach carousel-like system in a game like Madden. Maybe starting out as an offensive coordinator somewhere and then waiting on your head coaching opportunity. It wouldn't be as interesting as like NCAA, where you could have a lot more movement between levels of conferences and whatnot, but it should still be there. And I feel like if they can make scouting better and they can make the coaching better and add to the scenario engine, like Madden 22 could be a lot more promising. I think that it's great that they're laying this out here, like getting information on what they want to do going forward a year before the next game is about to launch, I think is pretty cool. But we have to see what they do in Madden 21. What can they actually accomplish? Can they check every box that they laid there? And are they able to do it in a timely fashion? I understand these things take time, but I do not think that it would be good if we waited 3 months for some sort of improvement to franchise mode like we did with the 5th year options last year. So I'm looking forward to what they can do to 21 to make it better. They also talk about the community and feedback and all that stuff. But the last bit of information I thought was interesting is that they're going to be doing another communication update right before the NFL season kickoff in early September, where they want to share more specifically on the roadmap for projected improvements for future title updates. So I think this is a good post. I like it. I'm glad that they are dedicating more resources and addressing some of the things that we've been talking about for franchise mode. I think the mode has a long way to go, but hopefully some of the steps necessary can be taken here in the coming months, and we can start talking about some other things and not all the same things that we've been talking about. So that is it for the information here. Again, if you want to read the article for yourself, it's linked down below. What does this change for me? Honestly, right now, not a lot. I still want to continue my Madden 20 Broncos franchise. I've been really enjoying my time with it. I mean, Blackjack put so much time into building the draft classes for me that we've gotten to use, and they've all been great and added so much depth to the series. So always got to shout out Blackjack and thank him for all the work he's done there. And also, Matt 10 has helped me so much with the sliders. Like, there are flaws in the game, but I think I'm getting my favorite Madden gameplay out of all the franchises I've had. and so much went into getting the slider set where it's at as well, on an older patch, mind you. Like, I'm just so invested in that Broncos franchise, the universe, the players, and I want to go deep with it, so I'm not finished. You might be able to see a Madden 21 rebuild franchise from me on my second channel, which is where I've been playing with the Buccaneers this season, and I'm over 20 years deep into that now. I am thinking about doing another one on Madden 21, and I've talked recently about doing a series on a game like Madden 09, a cupcake franchise, and I'm still going to plan on doing that. I am doing NFL head coach over on that channel, and I think after I'm done with head coach, I will move on to the cupcake franchise, and we'll see what that's all about. But I think that's all I got for today, everybody. I mean, besides the Broncos franchise video that's going to come up later tonight. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Leave your thoughts below. What do you think about franchise going forward? If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. I will see you all with the Broncos franchise soon. Have a great day, everybody.